to the foundation, my friends. So we've talked about the first 5 areas that manage pressure from tilting over to stress and how you want lower scores in those areas. Now, in this segment, we want to really dive into those last 3. So what's the first one? Well, the first one is detached coping, right? Detached coping. Now, difficult concept to think about, but I really want you to think about it. Detached coping really measures your ability to keep things in perspective, right? Think about that. This means not turning molehills into mountains, not making everything a catastrophe, right? If we're being honest, we all know that one person who shows up to the job site at 6 a.m. and says, man, today's going to be shit. And you're like, damn, dude, the day just started, bro. How can you say today's going to be shit already, right? Because of one thing, maybe traffic or whatever happened in their life that morning, they make everything a catastrophe and they kind of put that negative shadow on the entire day. So this detached coping, what does this mean? Well, this means you're able to shift your attention and focus your mindset on the positive things that are going on in your life. Think about that for a second, my friends. Most of us, Alex included, we allow our daily job to weigh in heavily on our entire life, right? So think about this. You have a great family, you have great relationships around you, great kids, you have great health, you live in a great neighborhood, but one project that may be going downhill or going south on your job overshadows all of that shit and you don't think about any of it, right? Now, detached coping allows me to kind of pull back for a second and say, wait a minute, this one thing is a challenge in my life, but man, look over here, I have a bunch of amazing things happening in my life, right? To help you with this, I want to challenge you to incorporate what I like to call a daily gratitude practice. This helps us manage pressure in a way. So here's what that looks like. Every morning, Alex, myself, I get up and the first thing that I do is I journal and I write down 3 amazing things that happened to me the previous day. And most times these things are not work related. It's things like, hey, me and my 13-year-old daughter had a phenomenal talk. She just wanted to come talk to me and sit on my lap and share her day with me. Or, hey, I remember Sabrina just coming and just kissing me on the forehead and just tell me how much she loved me, right? So those kind of things helps us shift our attention and our focus against some of the challenges that are going on. Detached coping, right? Detached coping. So that's number 2. The higher your score in detached coping, your ability to be able to detach, the better you can be with managing pressure. The next one is this, sensitivity. And this is a tough one in the construction industry. I know you're like, bullshit, Alex, there's no sensitivity in construction. I get it. But hear me out, my friends, hear me out. When I talk about sensitivity, what do I mean by sensitivity? Well, sensitivity is your ability to measure the emotions and feelings of other people around you, right? Can you walk into a room and can you realize how stressed your team is, how under pressure they are, and measure that and operate in a way that's empathetic and compassionate in that moment? Now, as a leader, that's important because understand, not only can you manage your own emotions in that moment, but if you really do a phenomenal job of being understanding of other people's emotional feelings, you can also cut down their pressure and their levels of pressure and stress in that moment also because of your behavior and how you respond, right? So if I have a high level of sensitivity of others' emotional feelings, I can be a sensitive leader and have high levels of emotional intelligence and come in and do a great job. Now, ultimately, what you want to do is this. You really want to be able to pair those 2 together, right? You want to be able to have detached coping skills in a sensitive way, right? Let me tell you, the best I've ever seen with this, my friends, was my former coach at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Coach Tony Dungy. He was a master of detaching, also doing it in a sensitive way. I remember I got that dreadful call one day, hey, Alex, bring your playbook, Coach Dungy wants to see you. Trust me, my friends, when you hear that right there, that means your ass is getting fired, guaranteed. So brought my playbook, went into Coach Dungy's office, and I sat there on the couch with Coach Dungy, and for the first, 5 or 10 minutes, we began to talk. And I remember he said this to me. He looked me in the eyes and said, Alex, you are going to do phenomenal things in life. Not here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though. He was very clear. We are detaching from your ass right now. But he did it in a sensitive way. And I remember us having a great talk. It's so much so that after that, I went and I was standing in front of the stadium waiting for a cab to pick me up, right? To take me to the airport. And I remember my first thought was, man, that Coach Tony Dungy is a phenomenal guy. And then the second thought was, but damn, he just fired my ass, right? So understand, you can give tough news in a sensitive way that still doesn't cause people stress, right? And as a leader, that's important for you to understand that. Now, the last one, what's the last one? The last one is flexibility. How flexible are you, my friends? It's important for you to understand that flexibility dictates how we manage this thing called pressure. The higher your score and the more flexible you are, the less pressure and stress you will experience, right? Now, most people, they don't like change. And so therefore, when we have change schedules on the project, when constantly the general contractor and the schedule's changing left and right, people get pissed off and that causes people high levels of stress. Versus saying, hey, wait a minute, let's just go with the flow. Let me shift my mind. Let me detach from what I was thinking and planning, go in a different direction, and it will allow me to do a phenomenal job working without pressure, being a better teammate because I'm flexible to go with it, right? So I want you to think about that. So understand this. These 8 key areas, if you can begin to dictate how you view them and understand how you manage them, you can begin to manage your pressure and not tilt over to stress, my friends. So here's what I need you thinking about as we talk about the foundation. Where do you need to focus? Of the 8, where do you struggle? Where do you struggle? Where do you struggle, right? So here's the deal. You can go to the challengeofchange.uk.co and you can begin to check out and actually take the test to see where you struggle, my friends, right? So by taking the test, you can actually get your scores and see where you are with these things and understand where you may need to make some adjustments, right? So in our last segment, we're gonna really dive in and say, how do you make the adjustments though? It's one thing to know what I am, know where I am, know what my scores are, and understand that, but what do I need to do to really begin to implement this in a way that's effective for me, that's effective for my family, effective for my team? And in our last segment, we're gonna really frame it out for you and show you how to implement this in your life so that you can begin to live life with pressure without having stress.